Today's book is another one by the author of Pyramide, which I read last year. It's Arca by Romain Benassaya. And it was a book that I saw lots of recommendations for in the reviews of that other book. So I thought I'd give it a go. This is another mission into space because Earth is full, etc., in an unimaginably big spaceship, but goes in a different direction in whichever interpretation you'd like to give that statement. The story takes place over several years. We start off with 2147 and 2157, swapping between the two, and then other years are filled in with the backstory and the future story of the two main characters. This leads to quite a lot of chapter cliffhangers, and is probably why I finished this one so quickly, even though the story takes up some 480 plus Kindle pages. The main thrust of this mission is to go across a threshold near Jupiter and to accelerate beyond the speed of light and end up at an Earth-like planet many light years away. No, I'm not going to tell you how that's achieved, other than to say the characters don't really know either. Or rather, they know the means, but not the how. This book has quite a mixture of threads, amongst them people being forced into lifelong labour, a new religion being created, industrial competitive shenanigans, definitely not of the simply mischievous kind, total lack of personal privacy, and more. But that's enough to be going on with, methinks. I found this one pretty easy to read, apart from the sci-fi vocab. That, obviously, I had to get used to. But there are 3 words I'm going to highlight at the end that weren't particularly sci-fi, but kept coming up, and are ones you may not have heard of before. I enjoyed most of this book, but there are a number of chapters set in an unspecified time that I found quite boring. I didn't mind the concept, I just didn't believe in the execution of it, and wanted it to hurry up and get to the point. And I'm someone who can suspend my disbelief to quite a high level. So once again, I did a translation whilst reading for this, so I'll put a proper one afterwards. This happens about halfway through the book, and would be spoilerish if you had any idea of what's happening around it. But you don't. So it's not really. So this is me doing another one of those, as I'm reading, translations. This time in French. Il fixa son attention dans la direction où il avait vu ou cru voir le point lumineux. He fixed his attention, he stared in the direction where he had seen or believed he saw the luminous lit up point. Mais il n'y avait plus rien, but there was no longer anything there. Sans doute avait-il rêvé. Undoubtedly, he dreamt it. Ou peut-être avait-il seulement été témoin d'un phénomène météorologique quelconque. Or perhaps he had just been a witness to a meteorological phenomenon, some kind of meteorological phenomenon. Il se détourna et un éclair de lumière blanche aveuglant illumina la pièce. He turned back and a blinding white light illuminated the room, suivi d'un grondement assourdissant, followed by a very loud groan, that type of noise. He fixed his attention in the direction where he had seen, or he believed he'd seen, the point of light. But there was no longer anything there. Without doubt he'd dreamt it, Or perhaps he had only witnessed some kind of meteorological phenomenon. He turned away, and a flash of blinding white light lit up the room, followed by a deafening roar. And here's a short review in French. Ce roman Arca de Romain Benassaya est une autre mission spatiale à bord d'un vaisseau énorme. Les dimensions sont en kilomètres. Le but du voyage est d'atteindre une planète située à 24 années-lumière de la Terre. Et ils ont une méthode qui leur permet de voyager à une vitesse supérieure à celle de la lumière. Mais le voyage a des problèmes. Une organisation veut que cette mission échoue. Il est à noter que la méthode que l'organisation utilise est assez complexe. J'ai trouvé le texte assez facile à lire, mais bien sûr, il y a des mots spécifiques à ce roman. C'est normal pour la science-fiction. I mentioned there are 3 words that come up again and again in this book that you might not know. So let's take a look at them. Le seuil. This is the threshold. There seem to be lots of thresholds in this book, at least at the beginning. Sometimes it's with a capital, and other times it's just a regular old threshold of a doorway. I did kind of know this one passively, but I'd say it's not a common word in learning situations. Sempervirente. This word was familiar, like I'd heard it in English but didn't really know what it meant. It didn't bother me to start with because of the context, so I waited ages before looking it up. It just means evergreen. You may have known that if you're into plants, but I think it's more of a scientific term, so you wouldn't hear it in everyday speech. And finally, une scolopendre. So I knew this was some kind of creature of the creepy-crawly kind, and again, waited ages before trying to find out exactly what it was, because my Kindle dictionary told me it was a hart's tongue fern. Turns out it is, but it's also a centipede. Not confusing at all. Yes, there's a centipede plotline, but you wouldn't have had that on your reading bingo card. I might have finally guessed this, because a little after looking it up, the creature was described in more detail. But it had already been mentioned at least, I'd say, 10 times by then.